Tonight, top story live from Paris after a record-smashing day for Team USA. Simone Biles and Katie Ledecky proving they are the greatest in their sports. With a final jaw-dropping floor routine, Simone taking home gold in the all-around, the first American gymnast to win it twice, and her 9th Olympic medal overall. The cherry on top of her redemption tour, Simone sharing the podium with teammate Suni Lee, who took home a bronze for Team USA. Then Katie Ledecky winning her 13th medal, the most ever by an American female Olympian. We're breaking down all the highlights, including the 64-year drought ending today for USA rowing. The other major headline tonight, Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich and former U.S. Marine Paul Whelan on their way back to the U.S. as part of a massive prisoner swap with Russia. What President Biden said to them once they were free and what we know about who the U.S. sent back. Trump's racial politics. Former President Trump upping his attacks, doubling down on remarks questioning Vice President Kamala Harris's racial identity and calling Jewish Senator Chuck Schumer, quote, a proud member of Hamas. Meanwhile, Harris getting an important endorsement from a black Muslim organization who say they were not going to vote for Biden. The reputed leader of the Sinaloa cartel appearing in a U.S. court, the new details in the capture of him and El Chapo's son. Back here in Paris, a Cuban wrestler going for his 5th consecutive gold medal. It would make him the athlete with the most gold medals in a single event, surpassing even Michael Phelps. Why he says this round is unlike any other. Plus, have you heard of Team USA's candy guy? The man going viral after he was caught on camera handing out candy to members of the U.S. men's basketball team during the games. So how did he land this sweet gig? And speaking of a fan favorite, a look at Snoop Dogg's Olympic journey, how he's riding out a new type of high here in Paris. Top story starts right now. Good evening. We are live in Paris tonight for another special edition of Top Story. If there was any doubt about who the greatest female American gymnast of all time was before today, Simone Biles has just put those questions to rest. Biles soaring into the top spot with a show-stopping floor routine during the all-around final, winning her 6th gold medal, the most by any American gymnast ever. Biles' victory also marks the end of a comeback that will go down in Olympic history. Just 3 years ago, she forfeited the exact event in Tokyo with a case of the twisties. But tonight, a very different image with her signature grin, the queen of the gym, reclaiming her golden crown. Her teammate Suni Lee also delivering a powerful performance on the floor, a smile beaming across her face as she stuck the landing on her first pass. Lee also securing her spot on the podium, taking bronze. One of these women has now won the all-around at each of the last 3 Olympic Games, extending Team USA's winning streak to 20 years long. Our Hoda Kotb had a chance to catch up with them after the medal ceremony.
How did this one feel?
I meant this one feels even better than the last. I'm a lot more matured, so I know exactly what my body is capable of, mentally and physically. So to just go out there and achieve that goal, it meant the world to me.
But Simone Biles wasn't the only GOAT putting her talents on display. In the pool, phenom Katie Ledecky erasing a slow start in the 4x200 freestyle relay, single-handedly pulling her team into second and locking up the silver. It comes just one day after Ledecky won gold in her signature event, the 1500 free. It was a dominant performance, at times leading her closest competitor seemingly by almost half the pool. With her silver medal today, she becomes the most decorated female American Olympian of all time. Tonight, the U.S. is still on top of the medal count with 37, 9 of them gold, comfortably leading the host country, France, with 27. American swimmer Kate Douglas also striking gold in the pool, edging out Tatiana Smith of South Africa to win the 200-meter breaststroke. The men's rowing team also making history, beating New Zealand by less than a second to win the men's 4, taking their first gold in that event, get this, in 64 years. And on the basketball court, the U.S. women's team taking down Belgium, improving to 2-0 at these games as their journey continues to what they hope is an 8th straight gold medal. On the golf course today, American Xander Schauffele beginning his gold medal defense, posting a 6 under par today in the first round, just 2 strokes off the lead. His teammate Scottie Scheffler also teeing off, finishing round 1 tied for 6th at 4 under par. Rory McIlroy, you know him, of Ireland, also beginning his quest for gold, finishing 3 under on the card with 3 rounds to go, tied for 14th with 6 other golfers. But we want to begin tonight with that historic day of gymnastics for Team USA and Simone Biles, cementing her place in the record books yet again. So let's get right over to Stephanie Gosk, who was at that all-around competition. She joins us live now in Paris. Harris. So Biles was the favorite to win overall, but it really came down to that last routine, right?
Yeah, in fact, this was a real nail biter. People thought she was going to run away with it, and she didn't. I mean, gymnastics is unpredictable, and Rebecca Andrade, who is her real competition in this event, was really solid and really stable at first. The lead went back and forth a couple of times. Simone Biles had a stumble on the uneven bars, and after that, she was in third place. But when it got to the floor and it got to that last performance, which was Simone Biles, that was it. It was all on her shoulders. It was the moment to prove to everyone that whatever bedeviled her in Tokyo was gone, and that she had beaten it, and she certainly did.
Yeah, 2 gold medals already, and she continues on, right? I do want to ask you about Suni Lee. What did she prove, you think, to the country and the world today?
You know, you mentioned Suni Lee won that all-around in Tokyo, the gold, and that she won the bronze tonight, but it might be even a little bit more special for her, this bronze medal, because she has been struggling with so many health issues. In fact, people didn't think she would even be here at all. And when they went into that floor exercise, also really tight with 2 other gymnasts, it was a razor-thin margin, and there was this wonderful moment, Tom. She did her first pass on the floor, and she landed. She didn't just smile. She actually cheered, and you could see her face cheer. She knew she had it. It was a dazzling performance, and it got her a bronze.
Well, what is the thinking about Simone Biles and maybe Suni Lee as well going into Los Angeles? I mean, will these 2 Olympians still be around, or do you think this is their last Olympics?
At this point, would anything Simone Biles does surprise you?
Right.
I mean, it's already so remarkable that she has done 3 Olympics. Typically, gymnasts do 1, but she has proven you can have longevity in this sport, and you can have ups and downs. We'll have to see what she does, but, you know, she still has a few more events to go here, and potentially some more gold to be won.
Yeah. Stephanie Goss for us. Stephanie, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Zone host Scott Hansen joins Top Story tonight to break down Katie Ledecky's record-making day, plus the U.S.'s other gold medal wins. And, Scott, do me a favor here, if you can get out of the gold zone moment for just a second, right, and put into perspective for all our viewers here the era that we're living in our country, right, with some of the greatest American Olympians we've ever seen.
100%, particularly on the women's side. It is fascinating to think that Katie Ledecky and Simone Biles, who basically came on the scene at a similar time in American sporting history, have proven to be far and away not only the greatest American women in their particular disciplines, but really among the greatest American athletes in history and world athletes in their particular sports. Katie Ledecky now with her 13th Olympic medal. No American woman has more. She stands alone, and really we're getting into Michael Phelps range when we go beyond where Katie Ledecky has been, or into Michael Phelps range. And then Simone Biles. You've got the athletic brilliance, the power and the artistry that Simone brings to every gymnastics competition, but the excellence and overcoming challenges, to have 1 gold and to be the gold medal favorite going into Tokyo, to have all the drama play out that played out in Tokyo, people doubting her for the first time in her athletic career, and to come back to the top of the podium again as the last gymnast to go in the women's all-around and stand at gold. It's nearly unprecedented. And Tom, how about this? These 2 women came onto the scene on planet Earth at about the same time. Did you know they were born in March of 1997, 3 days apart? Katie Ledecky and Simone Biles.
That's an incredible stat. I had no idea, but that's one of the reasons why we have you on.
Yeah.
Scott, your specialty is when the game's on the line, when teams are about to score in the gold zone. You're there when the medal's on the line. Talk to me about 2 moments, and you mentioned it a little bit. So you have Simone Biles, right? She had the final routine, the floor routine, but you also had Suni Lee, and she had to nail her floor routine as well. And both these Olympians met the moment.
100%. And Suni Lee, what a fantastic story in and of herself. She was part of, obviously, the Golden Girls gold medal team competition for Team USA, but she was the reigning Olympic gold medalist coming into these games, so there was pressure on her. Beyond that, just a year ago, being diagnosed with a rare kidney disease that some people thought would preclude her from extending her athletic career. Not only is she living through it and thriving through to it, competing at the highest level, coming home with the bronze medal here, and that indelible image of Simone Biles on one end of the American flag, Suni Lee at the other end, waving to the crowd in Paris that was littered with celebrities from sports and politics and entertainment and all the arts. It was quite a moment. Probably will be one of the top 2 or 3 moments, if not number one, this Paris Games.
I want to look at my notes here, Scott, to get this right. The U.S. also securing a solid 4 gold medals, right? Overall today, 2 of those came in women's fencing and men's 4 rowing. The U.S. women's foil team beating out Italy for the first time for that medal since the 2008 Beijing Olympics. And the rowing team, you got to go back to 1960. I mean, these are sports that obviously Americans don't follow every day, but these are monumental wins when you want to get that medal count up.
100%. The rowers, just absolutely hats off to them. People, I think, have loved that sport. The book and then the movie, The Boys in the Boat, had come out in recent years and just this past year. So that maybe got crew and rowing more in the forefront of the American sporting public's mind. But this team fencing, the women's foil fencing team from the United States, led by Lee Kiefer and the rest of the ladies there, first ever team gold medal in fencing for the United States. It was quite a thrilling moment, and they beat almost a dream team from the Italian women who had won 4 of the last 6 gold medals in that competition. Quite something when the last touch was made and America got gold once more.
Scott, don't put your guard down just yet. I got one more for you, okay? The women's basketball team. Talk to me about them, right? Are they heading straight to the gold? The game looked good, right? They're on top. I mean, but it looked like Belgium was giving them a game.
You know what? The women for the United States in basketball might be as big of a favorite in any sport, team or individual, in these games. And I'm including Katie Ledecky in long-distance races. You talk about Asia Wilson and Brittany Griner and Brianna Stewart and the rest of the gang. They have won 7 straight gold medals. No team in any country in Olympic history has won 8 straight gold medals. That's what the ladies will do if they're able to hoist the trophy at the end of these games. But Belgium gave them a run in this game. Belgium, in the second half, cut it down to single digits. I believe they got as close as 4 points before the USA was able to pull away. So you're the champions. You're the dream team in women's basketball. You got a big target on your back. And I think going forward, the USA will, the rest of the world will have the USA's attention. They're a special team. They're going to be fun to watch. Gold medal match comes your way on the networks of NBC and, of course, on Gold Zone on August 11th, the last full day of competition in Paris.
Our friend Scott Hansen from Gold Zone. It doesn't get better than Gold Zone. Scott, we always appreciate all your analysis.
All right, Tom, stay safe out there. I know there's some lightning in the area recently. Be good.
We will. We'll get back to our Olympics coverage in just a bit. We move on now to the major headline tonight about the prisoner swap between U.S. and Russia. Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich and ex-Marine Paul Whelan have been freed from a Russian prison in a historic exchange involving multiple countries. They are 2 of 3 U.S. citizens and 1 legal permanent resident coming home. NBC's chief international correspondent, Keir Simmons, has the latest.
Tonight, a history-making homecoming. 3 Americans freed and on their way back to the United States. Russian media broadcasting these images of several of the 16 detainees released, gathering their bags and boarding a flight out of the country. In the Oval Office, the daughter of one speaking to her mother a day before her 13th birthday. Among those released, Evan Gershkovich, the Wall Street Journal reporter. The paper's newsroom today filled with emotion. Its front page declaring Evan Gershkovich is free. His family saying, "We can't wait to give him the biggest hug." He was detained on assignment in March of 2023. Then, last month, he was hurriedly sentenced to 16 years in a Russian penal colony for espionage, the US government calling that a sham.
This is an incredible relief.
President Biden celebrating at the White House today, surrounded by family members of those released.
Now, their brutal ordeal is over, and they're free.
They include Paul Whelan, the Marine veteran who was detained in Moscow in 2018. Tonight, his family thanking President Biden while accusing the Kremlin of taking years off his life. Also, Alsu Kamasheva, a Russian dual citizen who was visiting her mother in May of last year when she was detained on a foreign agent charge. And Vladimir Kara-Murza, a prominent Russian dissident who holds a US green card. A complex prisoner swap, nothing like it's seen since the Cold War. The deal involving 24 individuals, the handover in Turkey, with 7 separate aircraft and 8 Russians Putin wanted back returned. Greeting them with flowers on the tarmac, the group including convicted Russian spies and their children. Controversially, key to the deal was the release of Vadim Krasikov, a Russian assassin convicted of murder in Germany. Germany saying tonight it did not take the decision lightly.
Anyone who questions whether allies matter, they do. They matter. And today is a powerful example of why it's vital to have friends in this world. Friends you can trust.
Basketball player Brittany Griner, released from Russian detention in 2022, is in France for the Olympics and told reporters today she is head over heels that the Americans are headed home. Notably, not included in the swap, and tonight among the Americans still in Russian custody, Ksenia Karolina, a Russian-American ballerina who made a small donation to a Ukraine aid group and was detained whilst visiting family in Russia, and Mark Fogel, the American teacher held on charges of bringing a small amount of medical marijuana into Russia. His family tonight saying we are completely heartbroken and outraged that Mark has been left behind while the US government brought other Americans home. Tonight, the Biden administration saying it is actively working to get his release as well.
All right, Keir Simmons joins us live tonight here on Top Story. Keir, the Wall Street Journal had some additional details today about Gershkovich's release. What do you know?
Well, that's right, Tom. The Wall Street Journal says that Evan Gershkovich had to write to President Putin to ask for clemency as part of this process of release, and that when he wrote to President Putin, the Journal's reporter, Evan Gershkovich, asked for an interview with the Russian president. Tom, even as he was being released, looking for his next story.
That's incredible. And Keir, your piece, you mentioned Germany's release of a Russian assassin in the deal. He's one of 8 Russians returned home. What do we know about some of the prisoners released by the U.S.?
Well, let's just talk about a couple of them. That man released from Germany, Vadim Krasikov. Now he's an assassin. He shot dead somebody in a park in Germany. He was in jail for that, Tom. So that was a very, very difficult decision for the Germans to make. Another one, Roman Seleznev. Now, he is a cyber criminal who's been jailed in the U.S. for 27 years. So again, for America, a very difficult decision to make to release him, and that just gives you a picture of how not just complex but controversial this deal was. Tom, tonight President Putin is offering all of those Russians released rewards. Tom?
Yeah, you know, Keir, before you go, I do want to ask you, you had the chance to interview Vladimir Putin, and today something different happened, right? When those Russian prisoners came back to Russia, he was there to greet them. He doesn't even greet foreign leaders when they come to Russia. What does that tell you?
Oh, I think for President Putin, this is an opportunity to try to say to the Russian people that he looks after his own, that he looks after Russians. And also, more importantly, perhaps as importantly, is the message to the Russian intelligence services and security services that he looks after them, that he will always bring them home. That is the kind of domestic politics that Putin thinks is extremely useful to him. And you can bet that his television networks there in Russia will be repeating that message, Tom.
And Keir, does this set a precedent, maybe a dangerous precedent for Americans visiting Russia or Americans working in Russia?
I think it does. I think there is going to be those questions in the days ahead. If you release people like this and if you do deals like this, do you actually make it more likely that Americans will be arrested by Russia or other countries that are America's adversaries? At the same time, Tom, I think what today shows us is that we have moved into a different era, something like the Cold War, where two sides, there's a kind of iron curtain, two sides are more and more distant from each other, and it gets more and more difficult in a world like that for Americans and Westerners, those with the wrong passport, if you like, to go to someone like Russia or other places where Russia could reach. I think this is the world we live in now, and I think at the same time it's notable that this all happened in Turkey. There are those countries in the middle, if you like, trying to navigate the diplomacy between the US and its allies and countries like Russia and China. I suspect that in the years ahead, we're going to have to get used to this kind of world.
All right, Keir Simmons, who has spent years reporting in and out of Russia and on Vladimir Putin. Keir, great to have you on a night like this. Now to the latest on the war in Gaza. The IDF announcing today that the head of Hamas's military wing, who planned and executed the October 7th attack, has been killed. But Hamas has not confirmed or denied this report. The announcement coming just after the death of a Hamas political leader in Iran and the death of a Hezbollah commander in Lebanon. Here's Richard.
Israel has carried out 3 targeted strikes in recent days, confirming just today that it killed the military leader of Hamas in the Gaza Strip, Mohammed Deif, someone who Israel has been looking for a long time. The second was an attack against the political leader of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, while he was on something of a state visit in Iran. He had just met the Iranian supreme leader. He was staying at a guest house when the attack happened, killing him and his bodyguard. And that assassination has effectively derailed any ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas, ceasefire talks mediated by Egypt and Qatar, is derailed attempts to free hostages still held by Hamas, because Haniyeh was one of the chief negotiators. So the negotiations are effectively off. And the third attack could have some immediate consequences. All of them could have consequences, but the third one in particular, and that was against the military leader of Hezbollah. And today, the group's overall leader, Hassan Nasrallah, gave a speech, and he promised retaliation. He said this conflict has now entered a new phase, and said that the killing of the military leader, the killing of the Hamas leaders would be met with reprisals. He said that starting tomorrow, Hezbollah will resume its low-level war against northern Israel, a low-level war that Hezbollah says will stop as soon as there is a ceasefire in Gaza. Hezbollah says that it will not continue the war if Israel stops bombing Gaza. No indication that's going to happen. But the leader of Hezbollah said the group's real response will come as a surprise at a time and place of its choosing, and that it will be carried out against Israel and its main backer, presumably the United States.
Richard Engel, we thank you for that. Still to come tonight, Trump facing backlash, criticism growing against the former president for questioning the racial identity of his 2024 rival, Vice President Kamala Harris. The GOP allies now coming to his defense. And back here in Paris, we'll take you to the U.S. men's basketball. We'll talk to the U.S. men's basketball staffer going viral online about his newfound fame as Team USA's Candyman. Stay with us. This special edition of Top Story just gets started right here in Paris. We're going to have much more on this year's Olympics later in the broadcast, but now I want to turn it over to my friend Yasmin Vasuvian at our Top Story studios in New York with a look at the day's other headlines, including the human trafficking arrest made at San Diego's Comic-Con. Good evening, Yasmin.
Good evening, Tom. Thank you. And we turn now to Top Story's newsfeed, starting with an update on the arrest of alleged Sinaloa cartel co-founder Ismael El Mayo Zambada. Zambada appeared in a Texas federal court as he faces 7 federal charges on accusations he ran the criminal enterprise. He's pled not guilty. Zambada was arrested alongside El Chapo's son after arriving on a private plane in New Mexico last week. Zambada's attorney claiming El Chapo's son kidnapped him and forced him onto the plane with a bag over his head. More than a dozen people arrested at San Diego Comic-Con as part of a human trafficking sting. Authorities say 14 people were arrested for solicitation. At least 10 suspected sex trafficking victims were rescued, including one 16-year-old. Police working undercover at the convention, which draws crowds of over 130,000 people. A group of quick-thinking deputies in Kansas saving a baby trapped inside a PVC pipe. New video showing officials pulling a 14-month-old baby out of a 10-foot deep hole in the family's backyard. The deputies using rope to create a makeshift catch pole and carefully wrapped it around the toddler and hoisted him to safety. Luckily, he was not hurt. And the U.S. Department of Transportation has proposed a new rule banning airlines from charging families a fee to sit together. The new proposal would require U.S. and foreign airlines to offer adjacent seating to families traveling with children aged 13 and under. This rule would also target the so-called junk fees, prohibiting airlines from charging parents extra to sit with their kids. It is unclear when this proposal would go into effect. All right, I want to get to power and politics. Former President Donald Trump tonight facing new fallout after questioning the racial identity of Vice President Kamala Harris. Here is Garrett Hake with how both sides are responding tonight.
Tonight, the Trump campaign facing more backlash over the former president's false claims about the racial identity of Vice President Harris. Running mate J.D. Vance defending former President Trump today.
Trump's point is that she is a chameleon. She presents a different face depending on the audience she speaks to. You don't want a person like that as President of the United States.
Trump made the comments during a panel interview with black journalists.
She was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black.
Harris is the daughter of Indian and Jamaican immigrants and attended a historically black college. But Trump continuing to press his false claims in this social media post, writing, quote, "Thank you, Kamala, for the nice picture you sent from many years ago." Harris largely shrugging off Trump's comments at a black sorority conference overnight.
It was the same old show. The divisiveness and the disrespect. And let me just say, the American people deserve better.
Republican Maryland Senate candidate Larry Hogan calling Trump's comments, quote, unacceptable and abhorrent. And this from a top Trump ally.
She's always embraced her heritage proudly, as she should.
Meanwhile, Vance with border officials today in Arizona.
Kamala Harris came into office making promises, and she kept those promises to open the American southern border.
Slamming Harris for high numbers of migrants and fentanyl coming into the U.S.
There are a lot of moms and dads out there who will never see their kids walk down the aisle because of what Kamala Harris has unleashed at this border.
Sources say Harris's vetting team has now met with 6 potential running mates ahead of a VP choice to be announced by Tuesday.
Thank you to Garrett Hake for that. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Tonight, Vice President Kamala Harris has secured an endorsement from a group President Biden failed to win over himself. In an NBC exclusive, the Black Muslim Leadership Council saying it is throwing its support behind Harris, citing her stance on the war in Gaza and handling of the economy back home. NBC Washington correspondent Yamiche Alcindor has that interview.
Tonight, the first national Muslim organization that had been uncommitted to President Joe Biden is endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris.
I think that this election comes down to the decision between an authoritarian regime and a democratic government. Vice President Harris has a proven track record. She has been the best on many issues that pertain to my community.
The group, the Black Muslim Leadership Council, was founded earlier this year to both call for a permanent ceasefire in the Middle East and to advocate for domestic issues impacting Black people. Salima Suswell is the group's founder and chief executive.
Why do you think it's important to endorse Vice President Harris in this moment?
During Netanyahu's address before Congress, she decided not to attend. She also has repeatedly called for a ceasefire. And I believe that she has expressed empathy towards civilian life in Gaza, as well as the importance of getting aid to the people of Gaza. Former President Trump, he called for annihilation and ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people. During the first debate, he said that Israel should finish the job. This is very, very concerning.
In April, Suswell met with Biden and Harris at the White House, but didn't want to commit to supporting Biden.
It wasn't an easy meeting for the president. I mean, we were really tough on him.
What do you see as the big difference between Vice President Harris, who is part of the Biden-Harris administration, and President Biden when it comes to Gaza?
Quite honestly, I am not going to speculate that there is a huge difference. But I will say that she has expressed more sympathy. I think she's more open to having conversations around ending the war.
In March, Harris made headlines during a speech commemorating Bloody Sunday in Selma, Alabama, calling the situation in Gaza a, quote, humanitarian catastrophe.
And given the immense scale of suffering in Gaza, there must be an immediate ceasefire. For at least the next 6 weeks, which is what is currently on the table. This will get the hostages out and get a significant amount of aid in.
Then, just days after launching her presidential campaign, Harris met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, walking a political tightrope by saying Israel had her, quote, unwavering commitment, but again calling attention to the plight of the Palestinian people.
What has happened in Gaza over the past 9 months is devastating. We cannot allow ourselves to become numb to the suffering. And as I just told Prime Minister Netanyahu, it is time to get this deal done.
Susswell added, though, that her group was also moved by Harris's vision for the future of America.
Economic opportunity, pay equity, healthcare, education, public safety, and policing. Vice President Harris has been strong and has been a leader on these issues as well.
Now, Susswell says her group will focus on turning out voters in key swing states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Georgia. Yasmin?
All right, thank you, Yamish, for that. Coming up, a Team USA staffer's sweet story going viral online. We're going to talk to the candy man keeping U.S. men's basketball on a sugar high and finding fame online in the process. Stick with us.
Do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man.
We are back now with our special coverage of the Paris Summer Olympics, and that was a TikTok from someone you might know. They call him the Muffin Man. He's a Norwegian swimmer, Henrik Christensen, and he's gone viral for his obsession with the chocolate muffins at the Olympic Village. He posted a series of TikToks with these giant chocolatey treats, even hiding hordes of the highly sought-after baked goods in his nightstand. Other athletes also getting in on the fun. Swedish swimmer Sarah Sjöström giving us a side-by-side of the muffin with her brand new gold medal. That's pretty cool. And another viral moment happening over the weekend when a man in a floral Speedo dubbed Bob the Cap Catcher jumped into the pool to retrieve a rogue swimming cap. And the internet also going crazy for Team USA's Candy Man. Have you heard about him? Seen bringing containers of candy to the men's basketball team yesterday. They got to eat something. Joining us now is none other than the Candy Man himself. Yes, he is here on Top Story. Ellis Dawson. He's the director of team operations for USA Basketball. Ellis, thank you so much for joining Top Story. You've been with the team for 20 years, you told me?
19. I'm working on 20 next year.
5 Olympics, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, incredible. You've gone viral. What has the fame been like?
A little interesting. I mean, we're with a team that already has that fame to it already, but having the spotlight on me a little bit is a little bit different because I'm used to being behind the scenes, helping everything, get everything ready for the teams and the coaches and trainers.
So talk to me about, is it just candy you do, or are you doing a bunch of things?
I'm pretty much responsible for a lot of the setup for practices, games, uniforms, shoes. The guys have special kind of shoes. They have different kinds of things that they need. So it's all kind of a little bit of everything. Yeah. So, but the candy seems to be the most important thing.
So we have candy here that you brought to show us, and I mean, can you divulge some secrets? I mean, who likes what are these, high chews? Who's that?
It kind of is a hit or miss. Some guys like it, but they also they'll compare flavors, and they'll say, oh, I really like this flavor over another. So there's a raspberry flavor that somebody likes, but then the next day they'll switch over to grape. So
what is LeBron? What is he like? What's his candy?
He's kind of hit or miss. He'll have something one day, but not the other. I don't think he has that much of a sweet tooth compared
Jolly
to
Ranchers?
One of our athletes prefers just the red and the green, so you have to make sure that there's
the red or the green.
Red
Who's
or the
that?
green. So it's one of our taller players. So I don't want to throw this person.
I wonder if it's Bam. So are they eating this during the game? Is it after the game, before the game?
Most of it's before. It's something that they just kind of, maybe it's a nervous tick, I don't know, but it's something they just want to grab. It's also kind of a little bit of a hit from home.
Right.
To be able to go, hey, Jolly Ranchers, or, we have a different type of mint that they like. So it's kind of it's a different hit. So.
How many different candies are you hitting right here?
Probably 5 different kinds, including gum and cough drops and just a couple other things. So
now let me ask you, if they don't have the candy,
Are they not going to play as well?
You know, it's the first thing they ask for. Hey, where's the candy? So they'll take it over a uniform. They'll take it over certain things. So I think this is kind of like.
Did you bring the candy from America, or did you buy it here?
We brought it here.
And how much candy are we talking?
I have a bin, a pretty big bin that's full of just different types of candies. And yeah.
Anything they're like, look, this is bad luck. We don't want any of that candy. Anything they're staying away from?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I think we found a pretty good groove. It's pretty cool.
Give me the top three.
Top three?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the mints, like the mint gum, is a pretty high one, and then obviously the high chews or something. It's just kind of like
chews taken off.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, we thank you for joining us and divulging a little bit, and keep the candy going, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Coming up from the hip-hop stage to the world stage, Snoop Dogg taking the Olympics by storm. He's been a torchbearer, an NBC correspondent, and Team USA superfan. Our Lester Holt spoke to the rapper about his Olympic journey so far. That's next.
Wow, 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 yippee yo, yippee yay. The sounds of a dog brings me to another day.
That was a throwback to Snoop Dogg's iconic verse on Dr. Dre's track Dre Day in 1993. But the American hip-hop giant has talents that go way beyond music, holding roles as a torchbearer and Olympic special correspondent for NBC. Snoop has been a mainstay of the 2024 Games. Lester Holt spoke with the rap star about his time in Paris so far.
It turns out you don't need a medal to be an Olympic star, not when you're Snoop Dogg.
It's time!
Snoop is a crowd pleaser in Paris and making fun an Olympic sport of its own. I stepped into Snoop's world today at judo.
Nice, tight, close range fight. Up close and personal. Come on.
Well, you've been doing your homework.
Yeah.
It's clear he respects the games and the fans.
Watch out now.
His commentary on point.
Got him. He put him in bed with the okie-doke. He crossed him over.
I sat down with Snoop to talk about this new chapter in his career. You're living your best life, aren't you?
I am having fun. Let me stop lying. I am having fun.
Did you expect any of this?
Never. Never in my wildest dreams, especially as a kid growing up, you know, watching the Olympics, seeing how big this was and how...
So you did watch as a kid?
Yes.
I ran into you at beach volleyball.
Yes.
The other day, and you were leading the crowd, and you got
Come on,
you're
man.
America's biggest cheerleader, right?
Come on, man. I'm the biggest kid in the crowd.
And he's been everywhere.
I put on a fencing outfit, and I fought against one of our medalists.
Don't say fought. It's a sport.
Well, I sparred. We'll use that.
He's done commentary for badminton.
Give me that. No, I need that. No, over here.
Swam with Michael Phelps. Rode a train with LeBron James. But for all his adventures in Paris, one moment stands out. His turn as torchbearer.
It's something I'm going to be able to live with and be happy with, to know that I was the face and the voice of peace for that one moment in time.
And Lester joins us now. So, you know, Snoop Dogg, as you know, is a super fan of sports. And that really came through even with the Olympics when you were talking to him.
Yeah, I mean, he loves football, so obviously football is not here. But we talked about sports, and I attended judo with him. And what I got is a guy who is actually very interested in these games. He's having fun, admittedly, but he's serious about learning about these sports. He was right next to me giving kind of a running commentary of how the judo was going. A lot of stuff that I didn't know. I was trying to fake my knowledge through it, but he's the real deal.
So Snoop knows judo. Okay, that could maybe be the title of his next album. All right, Lester, we thank you so much for that. And coming up, they call him El Nino, but his wrestling is far from child's play. A 6'5", 290-pound Cuban wrestler on the quest for his 5th consecutive gold medal. A win would put him in a league of his own. What he's wrestling for this time around, you'll hear from him and his coach, and the importance to his country of Cuba. All coming up. Top story live from Paris continues after this break.
This is remarkable. In an ancient sport spanning over 2,500 years, we're perhaps looking at one of the greatest ever exponents of Greco-Roman wrestling.
That was the moment Cuban wrestler Mijaín Lopez won his 4th consecutive gold medal at the Summer Games in 2020. Since Beijing in 2008, the 6'5", nearly 300-pound wrestler has gone undefeated. Now he's on the quest for his 5th gold medal, which would not only break an Olympic wrestling record, but would also make him the athlete with the most gold medals in a single event. Telemundo Sports traveled to Cuba to talk to him and his coach about his final shot at history. Jesse Lozada reports.
Cuba, frozen in time.
with its complicated history, rich culture, and beautiful tropical landscapes, today faces even more political and economical challenges. However, for its people, sports have always been a source of pride and joy because it has won over 235 Olympic medals, the highest count in all of Latin America. For 11 million Cubans on the island, Mijaín López represents something very special.
Creo que el atleta que no sienta eso en Cuba, creo que no es deportista. Creo que todo lo que hacemos, lo hacemos por toda Cuba, por todas nuestras provincias, ya que donde quiera que esté siempre nos aportan un granito de arena. Eso es un regocijo de poder estar en una competencia, de saber de que detrás de una televisión hay 11 millones de habitantes que están gritando por ti y deseándote de todo lo bueno para que tú tengas ese resultado.
Sports glory for Mijaín would begin by winning the gold at the 2003 Pan Am Games with a victory over Rulon Gardner, which would take him to his first Olympic Games in Athens, where he eventually placed fifth. It was not until Beijing 2008 where El Niño would begin his domination, carrying his flag for the first time and reaching for the top of the podium.
En Beijing, la primera medalla creo que fue alegría. Creo que eso para cualquier atleta creo que es algo grande, creo que es algo inspirante. Poder obtener esa medalla, una medalla en la cual ya te reafirma en lo que es el Olimpo. Y creo que fue algo muy porque creo que ya se rompió la inercia de Mijaín López.
A gold in London 2012 proved his talent and dedication. 4 years later, in Rio 2016, Mijaín again conquered greatness, placing him among the greatest Olympic wrestlers. Then came Tokyo 2020, where his age never became a factor, winning all of his bouts without giving a single point to his rivals. For the last chapter in this brilliant career of El Niño, Mijaín would not have one of his greatest cheerleaders by his side, the man who inspired his career, his father.
Hoy vamos a ir a estos Juegos Olímpicos ya sin la presencia de mi padre. Creo que es una pata que le falta a la mesa, pero nada, creo que donde quiera que esté, él sabe quién dejó aquí, sabe que dejó a Mijaín López, el que él hizo, el que él plantó, que antes de morirse le dejó ese don de ser el mejor atleta del mundo entero. Esta medalla creo que va a ser algo en la cual va a ser con más exactitud, porque se la voy a dedicar a él.
Niño, es mi niño, no solo deportivamente, sino afectivamente. Creo que ocupo ahora un lugar y un compromiso que me dejó su padre. Te lo entrego, yo me conformo con la cuarta. Estoy conforme con la cuarta de oro. La quinta es de él y tuya.
Enfrentar un sexto Juego Olímpico y luchar por un quinto oro, creo que es algo, ¿no? Un sueño en el cual uno no se baja de esa nube. La nube que ni yo mismo hasta a veces durmiendo me lo creo, pero bueno, ya estoy ahí y estoy contento de poder estar aquí junto con todos los atletas, poder estar en París y retirarme lo más alto que existe, que es la Torre de París.
We thank our friends at Telemundo for that report, and we thank you for watching Top Story tonight. I'm Tom Llamas reporting from Paris. We want to leave you with this image of Simone Biles tonight, the GOAT, holding up her blinged-out GOAT necklace, living up to her nickname in every way, and making everyone across this country so proud. Thank you for watching tonight.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.